Laura and Ed.
And welcome to the biggest and best project of ours yet. So you've just seen some of the property. This is our first commercial to residential scheme, and it's an 8-bed all-ensuite HMO. This was previously owned by the Conservative Party, so due to the recent change of the political landscape, and coupled with it was their offices, which post-COVID have been taking a hit, we were able to buy this for a great price.
So this is our kitchen and communal space. It was very dilapidated before and we're really happy with how it's turned out. As you can see, it's lovely and fresh, loads of space. It's actually 40 metres squared, which is large enough for it to be a 1-bedroom flat, but we've chosen to leave it and have all this extra space for the seating. Obviously 8 people have got to live here, so we wanted it a nice space. You can have a look at some of the befores. Great tiles as well. If you follow our YouTube, you'll see that me and Ed always have arguments about the tiles. Last time, I think Ed put bathroom tiles in the kitchen, but this time we agreed on these ones together.
So this property went up for sale by modern method of auction, which is an auction that doesn't really go through an auction house. It's just an agent that pretty much saying highest bidder wins. So immediately I felt like we were under pressure because we came to an open view and there's lots of people here. I realised the potential this property had and wanted to capitalise on it immediately, but I didn't want to make my position so well known that they knew we were going to overpay for it. So I found myself having to mediate that and put an offer in quickly, but below market value, obviously. Luckily, we were able to agree a price pretty quickly. That was in the January. We then submitted planning in February. So this is an 8-bedroom HMO. So therefore, we needed to submit full planning because it's a sui generis classification. We were lucky enough to complete the property in April. We did have some challenges obtaining finance though, and we ended up buying it cash, so we'll talk about that later. And then in June, we obtained the planning permission and commenced the build pretty much immediately. Again, there were struggles obtaining the planning permission. It got pushed back and went to committee meeting, to which me and Laura literally watched in our office. And they put it to a vote and a group of people just put their hands up and let us build and go ahead with this development, which is pretty nuts to be honest, but definitely monumental.
So all in favour, reassured. That's unanimous. Yes.
Good news. So I may have made that process sound a lot more simpler than it was. There's a lot that goes into the pre-construction phase, and we wanted to do it different this time to how we've done previously. Previously, we've self-managed a lot, which has ended up taking up so much time and being such a headache. It's something we did not want to do. So the best thing we actually did was onboard a planning consultant. This planning consultant set up our contracts that we used, specification sheets. We utilised his architect, his structural engineer, and he even submitted party wall notices to next door, so that took out a lot of the headache. He then went one step further and actually onboarded a principal contractor for us, or with us, which was just absolutely life-changing. We've been not very hands-on throughout this process and just periodically checking on the progress and monitoring or benchmarking progress, just making payments as and when we needed to, which has been an absolute delight. Throughout this time, at the same point, me and Laura personally spent a lot of time on trying to optimize the proposed site. Obviously, we have a lot of space here, and it's not about stretching it out and fitting in as many rooms as we can as possible, but it is about optimization and making sure everything's pragmatic whilst making sure we get the best return on our money. We've also got other things to note like fire compliance, i.e. whereabouts is the kitchen and escape routes to think about. And the more we actually know and can prepare at the very beginning and the start, the less friction we're going to encounter and the more straightforward the project's going to be.
So the building itself was kind of split in two. We've got the left side and then the right side where we are here now, which we call the stables, is where we've probably done the most amount of work. There was a wall here which we've had removed to kind of split it up into the 2 bedrooms downstairs, and then we did a big conversion upstairs for a fat penthouse suite, which we'll show you. Before, this is all jiggly-pocketed around. We had like a fire exit wall here. Here was a glass facade. So we've had a lot of structural work here to kind of configure these rooms. We put the bathrooms back to back to save more space in the bedrooms as well. All the bathrooms that we've done exactly the same spec, same colour, everything. So it was just nice and easy and the same all the way through. That's not only easy for me, Ed, for our builder team and everything, but it also saves any arguments with our tenants who are moving in.
So aside from the structural reconfiguration that Laura's just spoke about, the main majority bulk of the work goes into the necessary upgrades required to A, house 8 people, then B, also the associated regulatory compliance that comes with moving into the sui generis bracket, which is 7+ bedroom HMO. And what I mean by that is predominantly a lot of fire upgrades. There are thermal insulation and sound acoustic upgrades as well. But for example, when we just fire compartmentalization and fireproofing can become very costly. Our heating system needs huge upgrades with regards to capacity and water tank and storage. And then even the system itself, which we're using Inspire here. So each end tenant can utilize a thermostat within their own room, all adds up very quickly. There's also a different type of fire alarm system that we have to install, as well as emergency lights throughout, that all adds up to the cost.
So this is the upstairs of the other half of the bedrooms. This space already lent itself so well, and there wasn't loads of work we had to do here, just kind of configure out the rooms. So we put a stud wall up here to get 2 bedrooms, and we knocked a wall down in the other bedroom to make that super massive room. With furnishing, we've used our furniture packs in all the bedrooms, so the beds and all the hard furniture has been supplied by us, and that is a service we do offer if you're interested. So it wasn't all plain sailing.
There are a few things that we didn't anticipate at the start, which were...
We had to upgrade the incoming water feed.
There was an additional beam that we didn't account for where gallows brackets didn't suffice.
We had some last minute drainage upgrades.
We also had to change the colour of the handrail for the visually impaired.
The kitchen extractor fans didn't vent to the outside.
The upstairs windows weren't high enough, so we had to install window restrictors.
And there were delays, and managing our tenants who wanted to move in and changing our end dates was tough.
So that's a little bit about the property, but I bet you're thinking, well, who are the tenants and how much are they paying? So we've been very fortunate enough to strike up a deal with a local organisation who have actually pledged their allegiance to us and said that they want us to be their exclusive provider for all their needs, which is fantastic. However, our only problem is we can't fulfil their needs, which is a good problem to have. A bit of an upsell here, guys. If you have money, if you've got anything, if you want to invest, you need to come and talk to us, because we've got extremely lucrative opportunities on the table with this partnership. It's literally a win-win-win situation for all parties involved. However, they currently lease some of our properties already, and we're moving on to much more professional partnership, shall I say. Previously, their company let agreements. This is going to be a 3-year FRI lease. What that means is technically a full repair and insuring lease. So they're going to be responsible for all the bills, the council tax, the internal maintenance, and it's on a 3-year term. So should be, in theory, super hands-off for us, should boost our profitability, and then in turn should boost our GDV. Now, because of our strong connection and partnership with the tenant, we know from the start that they're going to be our tenant. So we know early doors exactly what spec we need to build to, and then we can keep them well informed with when they're able to move in, which also means less void time. They're paying £6,000 a month, which is probably about right for the type and quality of the property in this area. We're very happy with it, combined with the fact that it's an FRI lease and we should be relatively hands-off for 3 years, and combined with the fact that they want more properties from us, we're in a super lucky and lucrative position. So as promised, let's talk about the numbers. The purchase price for this property was £170,000. The stamp duty was very negligible because it was a commercial property. We spent on the refurbishment, including professional fees, £160,000. We bought the property cash and we self-funded the development, so that means we had no finance fees. So therefore, our total spend on this project was £330,000. So our expected GDV on this project is £650,000. The market is a little bit slow and tough right now, and we are seeing some down valuations, but we would be very disappointed if it didn't reach £630,000. We will hear back soon in the next 2 weeks because we have had it valued. So hopefully by the time we come to editing this video, we'll know exactly what it is and we'll throw it up now. Insert new clip. This is Ed from the future, and I can now absolutely verify that our GDV and valuation was 650 grand, which, you know, we're obviously absolutely ecstatic with. And it just goes to show that we are building in that risk mitigation from the very start. You know, 650k was always what we thought we were going to get for our valuation, and it's landed on the dot. So we know exactly where we need to be for all of our numbers up to that point to maintain that profit that we want at the end. So bearing in mind we've got 650k valuation and we are 330k all in on this project, means we've made a whopping 320 grand profit in equity, which is just, it's pretty crazy to say out loud, to be honest with you. You know, that's some huge figure. We are obviously retaining this property, and therefore we are remortgaging and refinancing this property at the new valuation to recycle and pull out all of our equity and capital to then reinvest it into our future projects which we've got in the pipeline. So the cherry on top here really is not only are we making a lot of capital within the first phase, I like to call phase one of this strategy, but we're also retaining the asset, and we're now going to have ongoing monthly cash flow as well, which we'll dive into now. Seeing as we're going to be refinancing at the higher valuation and pulling out 75% loan to value mortgage, we're going to be pulling out 487.5 grand, so just shy of 490 grand cash to us from the banks. So, you know, if I say just shy again, you know, we're just shy of £500,000 there, which is coming to us. Bearing in mind this asset, this property is unencumbered, we have no other debtors to pay off. That 500k is coming to us and is wholly and exclusively ours, which is yeah, also mad as well. You know, a lot of capital for our future projects. Technically speaking, you could say that we've basically been paid 160 grand to develop out our own property, which is nuts. And this is not just only an all money out deal, but an all money out deal plus 160 grand. Our mortgage is coming in at approximately £2,100 per month, and then our other costs are insurances. So let's say £100 a month. It won't be that much, although we do take our insurance seriously, it won't be that much. But for argument's sake, let's keep it rounded. So we're at 2.2k per month. Overheads, obviously we've got our 6k incoming, 6k rent, 6k revenue, which therefore means our profit is approximately £3,800 per month, which is the cherry on top. Again, we're super chuffed with that. Not only do we have phase one where we're benefiting from the serious uplift in value, but we're also benefiting in phase two from the ongoing cash flow.
Hope you guys enjoyed our video.
And as we said earlier, if you're interested in our portfolio of building services, our management services, or our furniture packs, hit us up.